What we're talking about here, in case you didn't see the headlines, this is the Flex XC3401 VRG. It is an 8mm gear-driven orbital polisher. Recently, Harbor Freight knocked it off. They brought out their copy, and it's you know, it's not identical, but I mean, they did copy the handle, the housing.
Oh, they copied it.
Everything. Everything's a copy of it. And the difference is about a $300 price point. But the other difference is of course, you get what you pay for in this world. If you have not learned that lesson in life, then someday you will. You get what you pay for. This is the Mercedes-Benz of polishers. And this, I've used it on one car. It's held up so fine. My guess is this will never hold up as long as this. You put them in the same shop, the same type of torture that we detailers put these through. But at $100, if you're a weekend detailer, you're going to buffet your car maybe once or twice a year. You're not going to wear it out like a pro would in a production shop. So that's kind of the difference on the price point and the quality build. But I went ahead and I took these backing plates off because when we say gear driven, I want to show you what I mean by the gear. Okay, so when you look inside here, you see a gear set. That's the outer gear, ring gear. And then here's the gear set on the backing plate. And this is for the Flex, but the Harbor Freight is the same way. So they got pretty much the same copy of it. And these gears, this is what causes this to be what people call forced rotation and forced oscillation because of the gears. There's no slippage. There's no free spinning spindle with a counterweight like you have with this, okay? So anyway, that's the difference. And then since I have it apart, I just wanted to share something with you. And Yancy was asking about this little tack. The reason I have this tack is because when you buy either one of these tools brand new, you want to take and get, this is just some air tool oil, but any light oil will work. And you just want to put a few drops of this onto that felt ring, okay? And I'll show you why.
And how often would they need to do
You know, it depends. If you're a weekend warrior using this tool, you know, 2 or 3 times a year, probably once a year. If you're a production detailer, I'd say once a month. It doesn't hurt. Plus, it's a good idea to always check and make sure that bolt is tight. They can work themselves loose. So let me just go ahead and grab this one too. Now, Flex states that you don't have to do this. And I wrote an article about this probably 15 years ago. But here's what happens if you don't do it. If you start pushing down on this hard plastic will rub against this aluminum housing. And you guys that have used the Flex for years like me, you've seen this. You're buffing and you see these little black shards flying out onto the paint you're buffing. And that's this peeling off because it's abrading and it's not slipping against that aluminum. So put the oil on there once in a while. Now,
Rather be safe than sorry.
Oh yeah, and this is a wear part. So I always just use a tack. This is just a simple thumbtack. Then you can come in here and just kind of grab this and lift it up and pull it out, and then periodically just flip it over and then re-oil it. And you want to be careful when you're doing this. Here's the voice of experience. You don't want to stretch this, okay? Makes it hard to put back in. This is a very defined perimeter here. Anyway, so then just take and of course you could probably lube it. Like I could have lubed that while it was out. But then just carefully place it back in there. Then you go ahead and if this was, you're just flipping it over, then you'd want to put some oil. Then here's a couple key things too. This is so important. This is a very purpose-made screw. Okay, you don't want any longer and you don't want any shorter. And this is a very stout washer that comes with the Flex. And there's a slot here on the spindle, and there's a slot here in the backing plate on both these tools. So you want to make sure you line this up correctly and make sure it's flush, and then go ahead and place in the washer, and then the bolt, and then go ahead and tighten it. Now, the other thing I'd point out, and there's a review for this up on the Dr. Beasley's blog, but when I made a video about this, one of the things I noticed was that their washer bolt system is subpar. It's just undersized washer. It's got a cheesy little lock washer on there and a cheesy little bolt here. If it's the same metric diameter, I would copy what the Flex people did, put a bigger washer on there and a higher quality bolt. You know, that's up to you. Okay. And then this has a lock button they both do right here to lock up the gear set. So you take and you push that in, put your wrench on here, and then as I spin this, it'll fall into place, the gear there. Well, there, locked in. Now I can tighten that. That is snug. Make sure this one is snug.
Oh, they're not the same size?
No, they're actually different sizes.
That would have made it simple.
That is snug.
Alrighty then.
Okay. Okay, I'm done with the wrenches, done with the oil, done with the tack. Okay, so now we got these things reassembled, and then just real quickly, if you want to just come in here and look, they both have a forward bell handle. They both have a recessed lock button. This actually has what's called a tool rest, okay, right here and right here. This is soft rubber. And I know guys cringe when I do things like this, but that's so if you want to set it down on something, it won't just slide off. Flex actually doesn't have that. They got this hard plastic case here and just hard plastic here. I would never set this upside down on the hood of a car. Then they say they got the soft start triggers, both of them. And let's see, they got, this has
What's the difference in the motors?
I didn't memorize all that, so I don't know. I think they're both 8 amp, so they have plenty of power. Then variable speed dial. This one's placed on the top, goes from speed 1 to speed 6. This one's over here is on the side. Trigger locks. You can lock your button in place, so you don't got to hold it the whole time.
Now, does that one spin the same way as the Flex? It's not reversed like Malay?
Nope, this is an exact copy. So they both spin counterclockwise.
Okay.
Now I'm going to go ahead and start these out on 1 and just let you hear the motors on these. So here's the Harbor Freight on speed 1. Flex. Not the same. Now we'll bump all the way up to 6. This is the speed I like to buff on.
If it went to 7, he'd be on 7. Flex a little bit quieter.
This sounds a little higher.
It's a higher pitch, but the Flex is actually quieter.
And this also, they actually did a good job. It has an ergonomic, very grippy rubber handle here with ribs in there, so it's easy to grip. A 25-foot cord. Here's the ports to change the electric plugs. Flex actually doesn't have that.
The brushes, you mean?
Yeah, the brushes, yeah. You have to disassemble the body to get in there. And I think this comes with about an 8 or 9 foot cord. So, but for the most part, identical tools. Yeah. You're not going to tell the difference between one or the other. And of course, then kind of back to this. So with this black mark, when you turn this on, here I'll turn this on and buff on the table. See how it's easy to see if it's spinning with that black mark? And then also if it's not spinning, okay? That's called pad stalling. Anyway, with these gear-driven tools, you do not have to mark the backing plate. Now, if you want to come over here, let me grab a stroll finder light because it does show well. I have detail. This has got a custom base coat, clear coat paint job. I would, you know, when we talk about paint being soft, hard, or somewhere in between those two extremes, I would put this on the soft side of medium. I don't know if I'd call it medium. It's definitely not hard, but it's definitely not soft. I mean, soft paint to me is paint that you have to be careful just wiping it with the towel because the towel could scratch it. That is a pain to work on. That is soft paint. But this is just on the soft side of medium. Can you capture these swirls in here?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, then I've taken a crayon and I've actually marked out there's some deep scratchers running this way, there's some running this way, there's some running this way. And I pointed those out for myself to make sure I pull those out when I finish this car out. Excuse me, but also, a lot of times when you're using an orbital polisher, any brand, gear-driven, free spinning, it's not going to pull out what are called RIDs, random isolated deeper scratches. And what will happen is we're going to buff out all the millions of shallow scratches, and then the RIDs will remain, and then they're going to stand out like a sore thumb because there's nothing camouflaging them. So let's go ahead, and because I've been working on this car and I already know what's going to take to polish this out, I'm going to go to a foam cutting pad. This is an SDO. It's a light foam cutting pad.
Now, just going over everything, I know the answer, but maybe some of those people out there. Now, it's a good idea to always have your pad centered on this as well.
Oh, gosh, yeah. Yes. You know, whatever tool you're using, especially the rotaries, but no matter what it is, try to do your best to center it up. I didn't get that perfect. I'll show you my technique. What I do is I take my thumb, I hold the pad, and then I bring my thumb and the backing plate together. So now if I'm shaking, at least I'm shaking in unison. And then as I bring this down closer and closer, I can kind of monitor where it's at and get it really centered up. It's just important. And also, as your backing plate, you know, a backing plate is a wear item. The backing plate itself wears out, but the hooks, whether they're mushroom or J hooks or micro hooks, they start to wear out over time and they quit holding the pad on. And what'll happen is you're buffing with one of these tools because they got so much power, that pad will actually walk around with the backing plate, and then all of a sudden the tool will sound like it's got a flat tire, like it's womp, 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 starting to really jump around on you. And if you stop and look, you'll notice the backing plate and the pad are no longer centered. So stop, recenter, or switch to a dry pad. Okay, this is the Dr. Beasley's NSP 150. And let me just, a lot of people new to this live broadcast might not know what this is. This is our version of a compound. And the difference between this and anything else, there's 3 pea-sized drops, is everything in here is organic. Nothing is, or inorganic, nothing's organic. And in our system, after using any of our NSP primers, you can go right to the coating without doing a panel wipe because there's nothing organic in there to keep the coating from bonding. Okay. Are you ready?
I was born ready.
Okay. I'm going to turn this on a slow speed. There's 4, just to kind of spread this out. And here's a technique tip. You know, one of my good friends the other day ago, I saw a video that says you don't got to do this. I like to do it because what happens if you put your product on here and just put it down, all the product, because of the weight, goes into the foam. So I like to spread it around a little bit. And when you come up next to a little dauber of product, don't run the edge into it. Lift the pad, keep it in contact with the paint, and grab it. Spread it around. Grab it. Spread it around. Grab it. Put it down. Don't be the guy that does this. On the edge into it. Okay, now I'm going to spread my product out. Okay, now I've got a nice uniform layer of abrasive technology. Here's center of the hood, because here's the trim piece that shows where center is. Now I'm just going to go ahead and make 8 section passes. Listen to the tool, watch the tool, we'll wipe off and inspect the results. I always like to count these out loud so I don't forget where I'm at. I have some people make fun of me for that technique. And you know what? However you get the shiny, that's all that's important to you. That was 3, so here's 4. I'm pushing down on this. I'm probably pushing down about 10 pounds. And that's one of the unique features about this type of tool is you can push down. That was 7, so here's 8. With a free spinning tool, you can't push down, you just stall out the pad. Now I know some people say, well Mike, you can push down, you'll get the paint hot. Well, I wrote the book on detailing cars. I've got like 7 to my name, so I know a little bit about heat. And yeah, you don't want to get the paint super hot, but look, buffing it's going to get it warm. Okay, so let's check this out. But the thing about a gear-driven tool is you can push down, and here's what that does. It engages the abrasives with the paint and causes them to take little bites out. So for me, a lot of people know my detailing styles. I want to go as fast as I can to keep my quality high. And if I can push on that polisher and push those abrasives in, it's going to abrade or level that paint faster than holding a tool there lightly and just letting it kind of flop around in the paint. So, okay, Yancey, if you can come in and check this out.
I'm seeing, give me the light.
Yeah. Okay. So now, 8 section passes. on this incredibly trash paint.
Let me see the light.
It removed everything but most of the rids.
Before. Oh, I can't reach because I'm going to lose the camera here in a second.
I just don't know where you need it.
Bring it up that way. There you go.
Okay.
Closer. Now go across. And there we go.
So a huge difference. That's just the first step. But these deeper rids are still there. And there's a couple of ways you can attack those rids. Once I polish out this trunk lid, I'm taking a wool pad and a rotary to the rids. Then I'll come back with the same process I used to pull the holograms out. Okay, you could just add some more product to keep massaging it with a orbital polisher, but you know, rids are random isolated. The key word, deeper. They're deeper scratches. So it'd probably just be faster to take them out with the rotary. Now, something else before I switch over there and show the flex. One of the things I like about a gear-driven tool is, look back here. What would you say? Is that 2 inches? Not 2 inches?
Yeah.
2.5? Okay, with the free spinning tool, if you go up on edge and try to buff out that thin panel, the pad's gonna stall out. You're not gonna do anything. So let me show you the technique I teach in my classes. I'm gonna put some product down here. Now watch this. What I wanna do is I wanna lubricate the edge of the pad because I'm gonna go up on edge and I'm gonna knock this panel out. And here's the benefit to this. Instead of setting this down and going getting a smaller tool with a smaller pad to do this part, I'm gonna do the whole car with the tool that's in my hand. And a lot of people say, Mike, how do you get cars knocked out so fast? Well, I'm not screwing around changing tools and changing pads. I'm taking the tool that I got and I'm making it dance on paint. Now watch this. I need product on the edge here because I'm gonna go up on edge. Now I could do this, take some product and massage it in, but I'm too lazy for that. So I'm gonna do this instead. Turn the screw down and just gonna walk this in slowly. I'm gonna make the tool prime itself. Boom.
Look at you, you're so smart.
Okay, now watch how I do this. Usually what I do is I'm gonna go up on edge one way, and this way I'm gonna turn it, I'm gonna tilt it, for me it would be clockwise, and I'm gonna knock out basically this portion, about the inch away from this chrome trim. Then I'm gonna tilt it this way, I'm gonna knock out this part right here next to the edge. And then I'm gonna come back at another angle and kind of schmoo the two paths I made over so there's no marring from this heavy cutting pad. So watch. And notice how I don't have my hand up on the handle. And the reason for that is because I want to see what that pad's doing, so I don't want my arm or my hand in the way. But notice how I got, there's speed 5 right there. No pad stalling. Okay, now I'm going to come this way. And make that thing trail right next to that edge. The guy that owns this car, he wants to take it to a car show. He wants every square inch swirl free. Okay, so now I've done this section. Now I'm going to come back. And I'm just going to angle this thing like that. So now I'm going right down the middle. Boom. And that's how I turn a 6.5 inch pad into a 2 inch pad, get the job done so I can move on to the next panel. Here's another technique. Now that I've been working with Dr. Beasley's products for a lot, like that Dino Ferrari back there, just got buffed out with Dr. Beasley's. You're gonna get a buildup of product, just like with any product on any pad. And what I like is a good clean tire detailing brush. I can just come down here and look at it. Just get any of that excess off before I start adding fresh product. So if you're a Dr. Beasley's fan, there's a tip for you. Get a tire cleaning brush. You know, you can do it while it's running, but it actually works just as good just to do it when it's dead stop. That's how I clean my pads in between sections on a panel. Okay, so let me wipe this off. We'll jump over there and we will check out the... And of course, I'm going to come back and hit this with NSP 45 and a foam finishing pad and perfect this paint before I put a ceramic coating on it. Okay, so over here I've already got a flex all powered up. I'm going to put the exact same pad on. centering it. These are Lake Country. This is actually an HDO. The only thing I don't like about the HDO is it's got this stiffer gray portion here. I don't like to go up on the edge. I might dig that into the paint. So I like the SDO for that reason. Okay, NSP 150. These come in 8-ounce and 32-ounce bags, but you can order the Dr. Beasley 14-ounce squeeze bottles and pour them off. It makes everything about buffing out a car quicker, faster, and easier having squeeze bottles. Cord over shoulder, standard protocol. Dab, 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 re-dab. Okay, now I'm gonna push it. And again, when I come up to it, I'm gonna tilt and grab that product and sandwich it between the paint and the pad. Yeah, spread my product out. Okay, that's not really buffing, that's just spreading the product out, but I have a uniform layer of two things, abrasive technology and lubrication. You need both to create beauty. Now I'm gonna do 8 standard section passes. Real quick on 8 section, I know my good friends in the industry teach doing short cycling, and that is important and it's really good for factory thin paint, but this ain't no factory thin paint job. This is a custom paint job. I got a lot of paint to work with there and it's in bad shape. So I'm gonna just make 8 section passes. I already know from buffing out the rest of the car, it's gonna only pull out most of the stuff. I still gotta come back and pull out the rids. So I could probably go to 10 or 14 if I wanted to. But again, I'm not working on thin factory paint, I'm working on thick custom paint. I want to point out 2 things. This next pass, I'm going to bring my pressure up because polishing paint is an art form. We bring the human elements of care and passion. It's not a grinding process, step 1, step 2, step 3. But the other thing is look how big of an area I'm tackling, Yancey.
Yeah, I know you're tackling.
It's freaking huge,
Yep.
okay? All these other polishers out there, you know, you got to work a little tiny section. It'll take you forever to do this. With a 8mm gear-driven beast, I mean, the reason I can buff out cars faster than a lot of people is because I can tackle bigger sections, because I can push on this, engage the braces with the paint, remove the defects, level the surface, and move on to the next step, not waste time. Last pass. Left press.
You got a light over there?
I do have a light over here. And I'll tell you, this side wasn't as bad as that side, so I can already tell it looks better. Now, again, I said at the beginning that this is on the soft side of medium, so it will take another step to perfect it, but I think you'll be able to get the idea here. There's 8 section passes with the beast. You catching that? Okay. Okay, very, very little marring, and most of that is from the pad. Pads have a sharpness to them.
Yeah, you're going a compound, so you still have one more step.
Yeah, so, okay. Anyway, all I'm going to do after this is I'm going to take and repolish that using some NSP 45, which I don't have over here, with the softer foam polishing pad, and then I'm going to go ahead and coat this thing. Anyway, that's what I got for you, Yancey.